What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you again for tuning in. Welcome to Ghost One More Mod. Quick disclaimer, if you are still shopping for a flight suit for your Ghostbusters attire, I strongly recommend don't get yours from a local Halloween store. You unfortunately don't get what you pay for. They charge usually $59, $69, $79 for an adult costume, and the quality is just not good at all. I found a secondary backup flight suit, and there's a story behind that because I'm still waiting on my second version of my original, but I digress. I got this off Amazon. I believe it was shipped for like 75 bucks, maybe $79 or something like that, shipped to my house. I'll leave a link in the description below for the exact one I used. And then I just got some custom patches, and I would say you can kind of get them anywhere. There's a lot of custom ones you can do off Etsy. You might find if you just want to go with a pre-named one like Dr. Venkman or Spangler or something like that, you can find them pre-made on Amazon. I would like to direct, if you're still looking for patches, no ghost or name, gbpatches.com. They have an awesome website, and they have all different types of varieties, whether you're going for like a GB1, GB2, but you can put your name out there, and the prices are extremely reasonable. I would recommend going that route. At the end of the day, this flight suit and with a couple patches, I would say you might only be spending maybe $25 or $30 more, but you have something that is 10 times more realistic. And after we weather this, it's gonna look phenomenal and an incredible bang for the buck. And what we're doing today is we're gonna make it that extra realistic look. So if you already found your flight suit, awesome. Now I'm gonna show you how to take it to the next level by doing very subtle weathering. One thing that I really tried to do is I tried to take my suits and give it a realistic, worn, weathered look. My whole philosophy is that if you are out all night busting ghosts, you don't have time to take it to get steam cleaned or to the presses or anything like that. It should look like you've been out all night busting ghosts. This is going to be a case where less is more. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm using. This is the route to go. Anyway, I'm excited to get some weathering done on it, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Let's go. So here's a quick insert of the suit completely untouched. As you can see here, this is when I first got it. This is how it would come when you get it from Amazon. Obviously, I need to get the No Ghost logo on there and my name logo on there. The zippers are black, which is fine. It's a good bang for the buck. I got to remove that string there. I don't want that, so I'll take that off. Just pull that out, or I'll snip it. Yeah, as you can see, it's a khaki material. Zippers are black, but I'm gonna take this over to a shop, get my name on there, the No Ghost logo on there, also a hose connector. And after those couple accessories, this is just Velcro, this just comes off. So actually we'll take that off and then ask the seamstress to also remove that and put on my logo. But as you can see, it's very clean. I just want to go for an inspiration of some weathered look. There's a close-up of the khaki material. So there you go, that's the suit, and now we're going to move along. All right, so as always, I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for some of the weathering here. This is just chalkboard paint. I will leave a link in the description below. You'll probably want some rubber gloves, just kind of keep your hands clean and easier to clean up later on. Flathead screwdriver to pop this open. Some type of stirring stick. In this case, my handy dandy chopstick works just fine. As you can see, I've done some weathering before in the past. You'll want 2 cups, one to pour the paint in, and then one filled with water. And depending on what you're weathering, you'll use a different ratio. For clothing, about a 50-50, and then if you're doing something with metal or something, non-clothing material, then you can increase that ratio to maybe like 60 paint, 40 water, or maybe even up to 70 paint, 30 water. And for when I'm doing anything clothing related, I like to use a sandpaper foam sponge. I like this for when doing clothing because I feel like with a paintbrush, sometimes I may not be as good, but it can be a little streaky, where this just kind of fades it in and blends a little bit. And it's just, for me, it's easier to spread across the seams. So I like to use a sandpaper foam sponge for clothing. Mixed up real good, and then I'm going to show you how to apply it. And that was still way too much, but that's okay. So Just a little bit of that. Probably could have done much less, but I probably will be doing some other weathering things today on the side. Take your other cup. Mix it up real good. All right, so I have my 50-50 mix here of water and the chalkboard paint. Just making sure I give that a good stir. What I am going to do is what I'm going to recommend you not do, and that is start high and work your way down low. However, I've already done a little bit of weathering before, so I know to go slow and go light, and I will say this multiple times, but less is more. So the great thing about weathering your suit is pretty much everywhere is outlined for you. So you're thinking like, okay, well, what do I want to weather? Well, what would make sense is if you're wearing the suit Busting Ghost is it's going to be first point of contact. What I mean by that is things that protrude most from the suit. So that's going to be seams, that's going to be zippers, that's going to be ankles, and that's going to be cuffs. Those are the parts that would typically get worn, and real life clothing too, gets worn first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the trim of this collar very lightly, just to kind of give it some depth. So if you have a big enough pan and you're not doing this in a cup, you may not have to take a paintbrush and apply it to the sponge foam. You might just be able to dip it straight in. And what we're doing is we're just going for the edge. And like I said, light, because you can always do more passes. Once this gets on, the only saving grace is if you have something dry or you use the other side of the dry sponge and you try to fade it in, and hopefully that some of it would get picked up. So, kind of like how I did here, if I do that, I'm just going to use the other side of the brush and kind of try to kind of sand it, kind of blend it so it's not a splotch. And this really isn't to like paint your suit. It's basically you're just kind of outlining it and thus showing parts that would have gotten worn. And the great thing about this is the collar, so this will get folded under some, but I would recommend starting at inconspicuous areas first. I would start at the ankles, kind of get a feel for how much to take off once you dab it, because so many people go overboard first, and that's my biggest recommendation is don't go overboard, less is more. And then the great thing about the sandpaper foam is when you do rub it and blend it, you're also kind of really wearing it. You're kind of giving it a slight fray, or a little discoloration, which is just going to enhance that authenticity. That is looking pretty good. This might be kind of hard to pick up on camera right now, but I'll move it so you can kind of see just the little subtleness that we did and then where we're going to go around on the rest of the suit. So there's this little seam right here. I'm going to get that. And make sure you always have some type of dry corner that you can do like a little, maybe call whoopsies, that you kind of take back or you can absorb up. You won't get all of it. I mean, if it's a big mistake, you won't get all of it, but it'll at least give it a little bit of a faded look to it. So I've got that corner. I want to get this corner right here. And do a little blending. And as you can see, hopefully, if the camera's pointing up, just a little bit of shade there. And that's what we're going for. So we're gonna go throughout the rest of the suit. All right, after a couple hours, I've let the suit dry, and just to kind of show you just some of just the slight edge here of the collar. It's just kind of, you know, pinpointing that trim. So we came around here, this seam here on the shoulder, and then of course the zipper. So we've got this part right here colored, here, coming down, and then the sleeve. I went a little bit more on the sleeve because I thought, if anything, that is going to get soiled the most. So both sleeves there, got a decent amount of coloring there. This pocket, the trim, the zipper, the little Velcro pocket there. This zipper here came all the way down on this zipper. It was very faint. Put a little bit there. I think my one whoopsie was going too heavy there, but I locked out because I realized that when that flaps down, you really don't see it. So that was probably my only oopsie, was going a little heavy on the back side of the flap, but luckily that just stays down. Along this line here, this line here, very subtle. And then same thing with this zipper, gave that some color. And then along this leg here, gave that some wear. Right here, coming all the way down this side. And then this big pocket here. And then same thing that I did with the cuffs around the ankles. I went kind of heavy because I feel like that's where, you know, it would be dragging and throughout, like, you know, the streets, and, you know, it would get soiled the most near your boots. So gave that a decent amount of color there. Overall, this just looks more proper, and no pun intended, because the suit actually is a proper suit, but it looks much further away than from a Halloween costume. So like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below for this exact suit. 75, 80 bucks, and you can make this look super authentic. And there you go. Like, there is a good amount of depth now to the suit. It looks, you know, worn, and as I said, out in the garage, it looks proper, which I kind of chuckled because I didn't even mean to make that pun, but I'm so much happier. This, even though this is my backup suit, I'm still really looking forward to the Magnolia suit that I'm waiting on, and I'll talk more about that when it arrives. But for this being $75 shipped on Amazon, you can't beat it. I just checked Spirit Halloween's store, and they're trying to sell a pre-packaged with a couple little accessories for $99. So like I said, pick up this suit, and then you can go to any place for GB fans or Etsy or something like that and get some elbow pads and a belt or something like that, and you're gonna have something that 8, maybe 9 out of 10 people will not be able to distinguish between this and the real thing. Like, it is such an incredible bang for the buck. $75. And that little bit of chalkboard paint and paintbrush, and voila, you got something super, super authentic. So I'm happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, and like I said before, don't overdo it. Less is more. Sometimes you are in the process and it's looking really good, so you keep thinking, like, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep doing more. But there's a fine line between it looking like paint. So I would do a little bit and then, you know, brush it out, or kind of like sand it out almost, and let it dry, walk away from it, and then come back and see if you really do need to do more. It's this little bit of a process, patience, definitely pays off here. So, but I'm extremely happy. If you're interested in this proper suit, like the real deal, I'll leave a link in the description below for exactly where I got this. Really, really happy with the way this turned out, and being that it's an actual flight suit, it is authentic, and just adding that little bit of chalkboard paint makes it even that much more authentic and miles better than what you would get at an overpriced Halloween store. So check out the description for the links below for the chalkboard paint, this exact suit. That's it for today's video. If you liked it or appreciate it, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the process, leave a comment, and then if you haven't done already, please subscribe. Catch you guys next time. Out.